Hello again. It's me. I'm Sarah B. It is Sunday. I said in my last video it was Saturday afternoon. I have no idea why I said that. Just chalk it up to being super tired after working the whole weekend. For anybody who doesn't know, my regularly scheduled work shift is Friday night at 11 p.m. I work 16 hours until Saturday at 3. I have an 8-hour break, which I tend to go and donate plasma, barring snow closures and things like that, which if you can see, there's no snow on the ground right now. And then I have to be back at work at 11. So after I donate plasma, I just take a little nap. And then I go work again from Saturday night at 11 to Sunday at 3. So I'm doing 2 16-hour work shifts with an 8-hour break. And because I live 45 minutes from the office, I usually just go in the break room, which nobody uses it to take breaks. It's basically a storage area. And I lay down on the ground. I have a camping mat. I lay down on the ground and I just sleep for as long as I can. But basically what happens is that depending on if I get a nap before I have to go to work Friday or not, I'm up for many hours for the last 2 days. From Friday morning until I get to lay down Sunday night, I'm pretty much up. Let's talk about the snow. Christmas was this last week, and it got into high 50s. It might have gotten in the low 60s, I'm not sure. But today, when I got up when the sun came up, because I was already awake, I was at work. When the sun came up, it was 66 or 7 degrees already. But it's supposed to get down to 12 degrees tonight. And right now it's still in the high 50s, low 60s. So it's going to go from the mid 60s down to the teens or lower. And then it's going to stay there for the next 10 days. We're going to have highs in the mid to low 30s and lows in the teens, mid-teens to single digits. We've had several days. So Christmas just happened. It was very relaxing and wonderful, and the kids really, they were good. They were so good. Okay, so there's a couple things. The kids were good. Some of their things that I had ordered for them got delayed, but they were like, that's okay. They were excited about the things that they did get. They played with what they got. I got those little gyro wheel things, and they played with those. So much fun. I got a sit and spin that holds up to 300 pounds, so even the 13-year-old neighbor kids can play on it. I got, Mila got a dollhouse, which I'm still working on putting together. I had to pause, but she's playing with the main shell of it the way that it is. Christopher got a skateboard with a remote control, so he can, and thankfully the weather was nice enough that he could go out and use it. He went to bed on Christmas night and saying, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow and play on my skateboard, ride my skateboard. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. I probably did, but he had asked for a gas dirt bike for Christmas, and I had to tell him that his behavior did not warrant such a large item. And then he had downgraded it to an electric dirt bike, and I had to tell him, this was months ago, that his behavior and his attitude and the way he was treating people did not justify that kind of a gift. And he's been trying to behave better, but he still was struggling. And so I'm not going to spend money on expensive gifts just because it's Christmas, because you want it. No, that's not how Christmas is. About the birth of Jesus. celebrating the birth of Jesus, not about kids getting tons of presents. It's about celebrating the reason that we are able to have eternal life. God sent his only son to die to be born and live so that he could sacrifice himself and die for us so that we could live again. Anyway, she was a little disappointed that he knew he wasn't going to get that, and I had told him, because he was kind of throwing a big huge fit about it. I said, look, this is what you're getting. And so anyway, he was very excited actually after he got it and was able to get on it, how fast it went, and so he was, really good about that. But he's been trying to be better. So Christmas was good. About the trying to be better thing, I don't know if I had mentioned it, but Mila had called me a cuss word. She's 5, and he had told me to F off the week before she did that. He's 7, and I was telling a coworker last week about it, and she said, why don't you do a swear jar? And I kind of took that idea, and I said, well, I'm not sure how that would work. And I decided to put something that I know that they want, but they don't often get, which is candy. Things like Lint truffles, only I got them the Dollar Tree version of them, much cheaper, but still really nice. I got like candies that they don't usually get because they're more expensive. They're not allowed to have a lot of candy, that kind of thing. I got a variety. I got some suckers. I got some sour candies, some chewy candies, some chocolates. I got 3 jars, one for Christopher, one for Mila, and one for the neighbor girl who's at our house every day. And I told them, I said, if you're going to say a cuss word, I'm going to take candy out of your jar. If you're going to hit somebody, the candy goes in the jar of the person that you hit. If you're going to say something mean to that person or be intentionally mean to them, the candy goes in their jar. Just basically setting behavior guidelines. The first day, Christopher lost 2 pieces of candy, Mila lost 3 pieces of candy, and the neighbor girl lost, I think, 3 pieces of candy. The second day, the neighbor girl was not there that day. And Mila and Christopher were behaving so well, and I might have said something like, oh my gosh, you guys are behaving so well, I'm so proud of you. And so then it became, well, who's behaving better? And all day long was a competition between the two of them to see who was behaving better. Not one misstep happened the whole entire day. There was no bad words. There was no mean statements. They were helping each other. They were being kind to each other. They played together. So then the neighbor girl comes over the next day, and they got to keep all of their candy. Very happily gave them all their candy. I told the neighbor girl, I said, listen, when you weren't here yesterday, they were so well behaved. So if there is misbehavior today, I'm looking at you, and we're going to have a conversation. So there was some misbehavior, but it wasn't anything, terrible. So there's been, since then, if somebody starts to say something and I can hear it, I'm like, do you want to lose a piece of candy? And they're like, no, and then they'll redirect themselves. Or I'll just look at them and they'll think about it and redirect themselves. I don't know how long the jar's going to last to be effective. I don't know how long this method will be good for. They'll get tired of the candy, whatever. I am hoping that if we can stop the bad habits and in the process develop better habits, that's what will happen. That there won't be a need for a corrective kind of measure. We'll see. But so there hasn't been any cuss words in 3 or 4 days. There's been very little hitting. They've just been much better behaved in general. I'm very pleased, and I hope that it lasts. My husband and I don't say those things. I don't know. And the neighbor girl, I don't hear her say those things in general, so I'm not sure what the situation is. I know her being there can cause jealousy because both Christopher and Mila want to play with her. She was turned 7 in May. Christopher turned 7 in August. And then Mila turned 5 in August. So she's closer to Christopher's age. But she likes to play Barbies and baby dolls with Mila. And then Christopher and she are the same age. So they like to talk about their friends at school and do things that, you know, subjects and things they're at school. So sometimes I don't know if there's some jealousy or some attention, you know, play with me now, or, you know, if she's paying too much attention to one or the other, then that causes the problem. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. They don't go back to school for a whole nother week. We just had Christmas, so now we've got New Year's coming up. It's a little bit unfortunate that we've had 60-degree weather for 3 or 4 days, and now we're going to go back into low 30s for highs. So we'll all be inside for the next week. So we'll see how well everybody behaves then. It's easier to be well behaved when you can go outside and run around, you know. Anyway, so there's that, and then the medication that I started, the Quisemia, when I did, then it was time to, I did my first initial dose, 3 whatever it is. When I got my refill, I noticed that it was the generic instead of the name brand, and I noticed that it wasn't the same. It's not the same. And a generic has to have the same active ingredients, but the fillers or whatever don't have to be the same. And it's, even though it's supposed to be double the amount of ingredients, it went from 3 to 7. Even though it's supposed to be double the amount of ingredients, I don't feel like it works as well as the name brand. So what I mean is that I don't feel as stuffed. But that wouldn't make sense because the medication itself is supposed to be equal. I feel tired, and I don't know. I'm a little disappointed that the increase in the medication isn't having an increased, a doubling effect, an increased effect on me. It doesn't feel like it is. So I'm going to keep doing it because I've done a little research in it, and symptoms usually dissipate over time, 2 weeks to or beyond. That's the first thing. Symptoms that you have. I can't find anything that says that the generic usually isn't as effective as the name brand, but I know from experience that can happen personally, that the name brand can be more effective. And so I'm going to finish out this month on this dosage, and then I'm going to ask, I don't know who did it, the doctor or the pharmacy, if I can have my next dosage and the name brand. Now, my insurance doesn't cover this medication. GoodRx gives you a discount code for it. I was able to get the generic for, I paid $50 some for it, so I imagine I'll have to pay $100 for it, which I was kind of expecting to have to do anyway. So if I can get the name brand medication and it's more effective for the $100 I was expecting to have to pay, I'm willing to do that if it's more effective and it works. You know, if I get the results that I'm wanting. And if it's the same, then I'll just keep trying for a while and see. Because it also says that you need to try it for, if you haven't lost 5% of your weight in what is it, 6 weeks, then the medication's probably not the ideal medication for you. There's a time frame. I don't know if it's exactly 6 weeks, and it hasn't been 6 weeks yet. So I need to give it some more time. It is having an impact. It's just that I would have expected that double the dose would have given me double the impact. Right? Yeah, right? Anyway, I'm telling you what though, the dry mouth, that's no joke. This is my husband's water. I don't want my husband's water. I want my water. One of the things about my best friend, she's like, you sound like you're hyper, and sometimes I do feel a little bit, not hyper, but not as tired as I might, like getting off. So there have been times when I've been just utterly exhausted on a Sunday afternoon, and I'm not utterly exhausted. I'm just right now, since I've been on this higher dosage, I walk around feeling just generally know if weary is the right word. Tired? I don't know. It's weird because the phentermine is a stimulant, but the topramate can have a de-stimulating effect. So tiredness can be a side effect. So my friend's like, well, no wonder you're all full of energy. You're taking speed. And that's not true. It's not technically true. It's a stimulant, but it's not speed. Whatever speed is, I don't know. But you would anyway. So I'm hoping that tiredness, that my body will adjust and that will go away. I don't. If I increase into the next level, is the tiredness going to get worse? The whole point of doing this is to lose weight so that I can exercise more. But if I'm so tired, anyway, there's always, when you start doing one thing, there's always a chain reaction of things that happen. There is, and it's, can you deal with the chain reaction of things? Not that I want to be all hyper. I don't. I just want to feel normal. One of the side effects of having a 60-degree day go down to 12 degrees is the wind, and that's what's happening right now. The wind is really bad. I'm on the interstate, so I guess I'm going to end this so that I'm not yelling over the wind. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I was just going to say that my scale at home, the batteries are dead and I haven't changed them, so I don't know if I'm losing weight or not. I haven't, since I went to the doctor and he told me I was down 4 pounds, so I need to check that. I think that will help. But this is ridiculous, so I hope that you are well and that wherever you're at, you're safe and warm and dry and all of the things. I pray that you are blessed and happy and that the winds are calm. I look forward to talking to you again soon, friend. Bye.